Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I guess all are doing well. It's been almost 3 weeks I didn't upload any videos. Had some health issues and was in on leaves. So lot of requests were there about regarding continue the videos and all. It's not well. So hopefully from today I'll try to complete around at least second module in next coming in this week. Okay, and then we'll jump to third module maybe in next week. Okay, so the sixth topic of our second module is conceptualizing the research. So all of you already might be knowing what is research methodology, what is review of literature, and all those things. Conceptualizing research is something you need to all of you know what is concept, right? So you need to conceptualize the particular research. That means in that particular field, whatever the idea or whatever the research you are going to do, in that you should make sure that there is a new knowledge at that particular center. It must have a new knowledge at the center. So that's what it should. Whatever you decide, whatever you do, at the end, what matters is how new your project is, how new your research is. So it must, and also it should make some sense. It must be accepted by the whole community of other researchers, or you can say the scientific community should accept your research. It should not be like something you are doing it and that is a new thing and it doesn't have any scientific meaning or any scientific explanation or logical explanation. That cannot be considered or accepted among the research community or scientific community. And also whatever the new knowledge you are building or bringing, that has to be characterized or recognized as significant. So it should be significant. Something you are bringing new thing and it has got no value in market or it has got no value in anywhere, that is also not acceptable. So these are some of the concepts of research that you need to conceptualize yourself with all these ideas and thoughts and principles, and we can also say rules and regulations, so that then only you can come up with a good research. But how do we actually conceptualize the research? Besides being original and significant, a good research problem should also solvable or achievable. So the difference between, so far we are talking about new knowledge, new research, innovation, innovative, all those things, right? So what makes the difference when you are talking about the conceptualizing the research? So when you speak about the conceptualizing the research, it's about whether your work is solving any particular problem or not. A particular problem is existing in the world or a particular current situations, and that has to be solved or that has to be addressed. That problem has to be addressed, that the solution has to be what for that, and whether your particular research work is solving this particular problem or not. So that's what is very important, and that's how we conceptualize the research. And also the particular problem or the solution has to be achievable. Whatever you are bringing the new thing, that has to be achievable. That means it should achieve something new. That means it should achieving means what? It has to have some purpose, right? It has to have some goal. Then only we can call it as achieved, right? So not only being original and significant, a good research should also have the problem solvable and achievable characteristics. So this requirement already asks us to think about the method and the tools that could be used to obtain the new knowledge. That means obviously when you are going to have this particular method or requirement, like for example, I need to solve something, I need to achieve something. These are the two requirements that itself will push you to bring something new, technology or new model or new ideas or new thoughts or new principles or new hypotheses. Understanding? So it's very simple. When you want to solve some particular problem which is already existing, you will definitely come up with a new technology or new idea. Why? The reason is the problem is existing because there is no solution. When there is no solution, the problem is there. And you want to solve that problem. If you want to solve that problem, you have to come up with a new technology or new idea or new thesis or new principle, new hypothesis or new principle or innovative ideas. Then only you are going to solve that problem. Because if the solution already is there for a problem, then you will, in that first case, you will not identify it as a problem. Understanding? So solvable characteristic and achievable characteristics are very important. So that was about problem solving. What about problem achieving? Achieving is nothing but not problem achieving. It's like achieving. Achieving is something, you have got some aim, you have got some goal. And when you get that successfully, then you call it as achieving, right? So in the research, it's the same thing. You have got some particular problem, so that you have got some goal, so I have to achieve this, okay? And then once you solve the problem, that itself is an achievement in most of the cases. Understanding? So this requirement already asks us to think about the method and the tools that could be used to obtain that knowledge or that new knowledge. So now the significance and the originality, these are the two characters earlier we discussed, and all the theory that we read and tools and as well as methods, right, that we need to take on a problem. All of this normally comes from the existing record, literature and knowledge in the field, right? The significance and the originality we are talking about, right? How we are going to decide that. And also to decide that, we are reading a lot of papers. That is all that of theory that we read, right? A lot of papers, review of literature in short. And maybe the tools, okay, which they have used to solve so many problems so far, in order to understand, explain the significance of your problem or the originality of your problem or the solution, and the methods that we need to take on a particular problem. That what are the methods we can take on a problem. All of these normally comes from where? A review of literature. That comes from the existing record literature, because we will read a scientific literature or the papers, and then only we decide this particular problem is new problem and this particular problem has no solution, right? That is nothing but finding the research gap. What is the end point of the review of literature? End point of the review of literature is to find the research gap, right? When you find the research gap, that itself will tell you how much significant it is, whether it is worth to spend a lot of money into this particular research. So that's where the significance comes, right? After finding the research gap, and if you think that research gap and that particular problem is not giving you much bigger scale of maybe the commercialization, or maybe in terms of serving humanity or society, if that is not happening with that, then it is not much significant. This significant and originality you decide with the help of existing record literature. That's what the point trying to tell us. And that existing knowledge we already have studied, that review of literature, right? I guess beginning of this module we have discussed about review of literature. The same thing. And knowledge and also not only the review of literature, we cannot 100% we cannot give 100% credit to the review of literature. We should give the credit to the knowledge in that particular field also. For example, imagine there is a scientist who is sitting and working in the laboratory since 10-20 years. Definitely he has got some knowledge in his field, right? Apart from the only review of literature, he has got his knowledge, he had put his knowledge in order to identify the significance of the project or significance of the problem or the originality of the problem. Now, he is not 100% dependent on the review of literature. He is doing review of literature because he wants to know whether it is being done or not. It's not that he is getting 100% knowledge from the only review of literature. You should have knowledge, then only you do the review of literature. Then only we'll come to know what is going on in that field, what is not going on in that field. Then only you are able to identify the problem properly. Then only you are going to define the research gap. Understanding the research is a wonderful thing that you should understand, not only for your exam point of view. You understand it. It is actually helpful not only for the researchers. Even when you go for some particular company, if you are trying to help out your clients or something, these all things will help you, because you know what are how exactly these things to be are there. Like in next module we will be discussing about copyright. So basically that's one more thing that everybody should be knowing. So coming up with a good research objective, conceptualizing the research that meets all of these requirements is tough thing to do. Definitely, when you are going to have a good research objective, so conceptualizing the research that has to meet all of these requirements. It should be significant, it should be original, it should have a problem solving character, it should be achievable. So not only these, along with these other many factors are there, but these are the major factors. A good research objective along with the conceptualization of the research that meets all these characters or the requirements is definitely tough thing to do. See, imagine how to bring this something, identify the significance of the project, right? You have to see whether it's original or not. You have to also see whether it can solve a problem or not, and you have to see whether it can be achievable or not. These are not simple goals or simple tasks. It requires a lot of effort in order to meet all these three things. That's what you are saying. These are the concepts of the or basic requirements of the research that has to be followed, and then that's what we are calling it as conceptualizing the research. So it means that one must already be aware of what is in the literature. That's what I told you in the previous slide while I was explaining. When you are reading some particular area of literature, already you got some knowledge in that particular field. Without knowledge, how you read? Without knowledge, how you are going to search for a particular paper in that particular area? Research, you are interested in that particular area means you have got some knowledge in that particular area, and that's why you are going to do this, right? That's why you are going to do the review of literature. So that's why one must have already, you should be aware of what is there in the research. That is possible only when he knows about the research area. So that is, by the time one actually has a good research objective, one is probably already an expert at the edge of the knowledge. Definitely, when you have a good research objective, when you will have good research objective, after when you feel that this particular area of research is mine, that means I like this particular research area, then you define your idea, right? Then you define your topic, then you go for a searching the papers in portals like Google Scholar, Web of Science and so on. Then you download hundreds of papers in that particular area. Then you read all the papers which are closely connected to your idea. Then you see that there is something missing, that is called research gap, right? And those research gap will give you several objectives. Those are the better you do all this whole process, the better or the good research objective you will get. And these are the research objective, right? So once you are able to find out the good research objective, definitely you are already an expert in the edge of technology or knowledge. That means you might not have done it in the experimental approaches like engineering or technical aspects, but in terms of knowledge, you are an expert, right? Else, if it is not, even though after bringing the good research objective, but if you are not having the, if you are not expert in that particular knowledge, then definitely it's going to be difficult for you to say with confidence that one has a good research objective. If you are having a good research objective, that means you are already an expert in that particular edge of knowledge. If you are not having the good research objective, we cannot say that you are good at the edge of knowledge or whether your research objective is good. So we can define this particular conceptualizing the research in different levels. As PhD level, there are some consideration that has to be done, and master level there are some what you say the what you say there are some benefits you will have in terms of research, because you're in master level you won't be having benefits in the sense limitations, not only just benefits in other way. Like as a researcher you will have benefit, that means most of the time your guide or your supervisor will be helping you, but in PhD level that will not occur. Everything you should do by yourself. Whereas master level, the supervisor or guide can help you with whatever the research or the research paper or reviewing all those things, or maybe he might can directly give you the good research objective. You don't have to do review of literature, right? And only for the purpose of the dissertation or the thesis you can do the review of literature in master level. But in PhD level, almost in every PhD, every first 1 year will be give every universities first 1 year they will give you for a review of literature itself. That means that's what I had told you. If you remember, if you are good at identifying the research gap, then only you can come up with the original work. Or else, imagine you have not done the review of literature properly. You are doing all the work. You are investing money. You are investing your time. You are investing your energy. You are investing the laboratory resources. In the end, when you write the paper after 2 to 3 years, when you submit the paper, your paper will be rejected by saying that this particular work is old work and is published in 2017, along with the research the group, along with the link where it has been published, in what journal published, what volume, everything the journal will provide you. And that moment, imagine how you feel. So in order to avoid the wastage of these almost 4 or 5 years of research and your money or your effort or your energy or the resource of laboratories, you should be doing the review of literature very well. So if you want to do a PhD in your future, the first and foremost thing is to do the better review of literature. Without better review of literature, then you are not going to come up with any new ideas or thoughts or any new things so that you can publish in any good journals. So definitely your PhD will again it will continue for several years. I have seen people who are completing PhD in 14-15 years, they are still struggling. The reason is very simple: they are not at all taken the review of literature very seriously. So that's what let's discuss how the PhD and master level things goes. So if in PhD level, if one is doing a research at the PhD level or higher, then conceptualizing the research is probably something that one needs to do oneself. That means you have to do, if you are going to do a PhD, then you are a PhD candidate, then everything conceptualizing the research should be done by you only. So now what is conceptualizing research? Now you know, finding the significance, finding the originality, finding whether it can solve a problem, and also to achieve. So this is very tough step, because one needs to know all the literature in the particular field. Without literature you are not going to get anything new. So when working at the PhD level, one needs to be prepared to become that expert. One needs to be continually reading the literature so as to bring together the three parts. So now tell me, to be prepared to become that expert, so far whatever you will discuss is fine. Now what is this continually reading literature? Continually reading literature is important. Imagine a candidate, PhD candidate, who is following all the steps what I just mentioned. He has done the review of literature, the excellent review of literature. He took almost 6 to 7 months of cracking his head, and he has downloaded around more than 500 literature papers. Okay, he had read all the 500 papers, and he came to know that only 75 papers are very closely related to his ideas, and rest all the papers were not much related to his area. So he shortlisted around 75 papers. In that 75 papers, he has read the papers till 2024 January 22. That means since till yesterday, he had downloaded all the papers. Imagine like that, and he has formulated, this is the research gap, these are my objectives. So from today I am going to work. So now tell me, what he does, what if it happens like he has to find the research objectives and he is doing the research from today. Now after a month, the same thing happens with another guy who is sitting in some New York or some particular Japan or any other countries or any other part of the world. He also has done the same thing, ditto, copy, paste. That is possible, right? Even when we are talking, sometimes we both, when with our friends, we both speak similar words, right? And then we laugh at each other. Now, why can't this happen? This also can happen. And after a month, imagine, and since he or the person who got these same ideas, he is in a better position or a better developed countries where they won't fight in terms of their caste or religion or something, so they invest a lot of money to the research and methodology, research and development, where a lot of research is going on. Definitely he will come up with he will solve that particular problem in a short period of time. So maybe within next 6 months he has got his research and he is going to publish. Now after 6 months he will publish his first article. Now this guy who has done everything promptly, has not done any error. Now if he goes and sees, okay, if he continue his research by thinking that till 2022 January 22 till 2024 January 22, all were this particular, no one was had a solution for this. But after 6 months somebody is having a solution for that. But if he is not continually reading the literature, he will not come to know that. So after 6 months, if he thinks that I have done with my review of literature, I don't have to do search any paper. If he keep on doing, after 2 to 3 years, he publishes work. Now the journal will tell him that in 2024, maybe in June or July, so and so person published the work. So whatever I was explaining, he was doing that, but continually reading was missing. The continually reading also was important, is important for any researcher. Without continually reading, we cannot say that this is anything. Imagine if he was a continual reading as case 2. Okay, after 6 months only we'll come to know that okay, this research has been submitted, published by these people. Okay, fine. These are the same objectives, whatever I have got. What I will do now, I will do some modification. Instead of this, I will do this. Instead of this, I will do this. Instead of this, I will do this. And I will also cite this paper in my research, and then by saying that this is the very closest paper which has been whatever I have been working on. You can mention that in your paper. Definitely that's how it's going to help. That's why the continual reading is very important. So usually what I do as a researcher when I started from master's research, I usually when I was doing my research, there were around 25 papers, not much papers in my particular whatever the interest I had in my thing. So those 25 papers, whoever had published it, and I searched the Google Scholar profile of them, and I went and I followed them. When I follow them, I do get email that whenever they publish some paper, I do get one email that so and so people have published this work. So I don't have to do much review. Maybe there is a chance that new researcher can come up with this thing and he can publish this thing. For that I have to do the continual reading again, literature, but it minimizes, it reduces my effort. So that you can follow on one of the example I am giving. So next, to bring together all these things, we are having 3 parts. A significant problem is there. It has to have a significant problem. The knowledge that will address it. That means when you are continually reading, the knowledge that will address it will be expanding, and the possible way to make that new knowledge, that is also keeps increasing. So that's how the things work. So next we are having how these 3 aspects would come together will be different for every person doing research, and it will be differently in every field. Definitely it depends on the field, person and the fields. But the only way to be that expert is by immersing oneself in the literature. As I told you so far, I just explained that only the importance of the literature. That is very important. You should immerse yourself into the literature and knowing about what already exists in the particular field. Then only you can come up with all these things. And at master level, however, if one is working on a research project that is of smaller scope than a PhD, let us say for example master's thesis, then conceptualizing research is possibly too tough for you because you don't have much time. Because you have a lot of academic things, you need to read for a lot of theory papers and all, right? That it takes to become an expert at the edge of the knowledge. So you are not going to be a much expert in the master level rather when compared to the PhD level. In this case, the researcher needs to take a help from someone else, for usually typically your guide or a supervisor who may already an expert in that particular field. In this case, in master level, you are taking a help from who is already expert in that particular field, and or he can be an active researcher in that particular field, or may advise on whatever the good research objective might be. So next, based on that, you can take on. As engineers, we like to build things, that's good, but objective of research is to be acknowledged, or it should have is to make the particular knowledge. So if one's research is about building something, one ought to take a step back and ask if knowledge is being formulated or not. You cannot simply build something new out of nowhere. You should know that what is the knowledge behind it. So if your innovation project seems like something any skilled engineering could create, then it may be dismissed on obvious. Because why? Because any engineer can do that particular thing, and if you are saying that is new, that cannot be accepted as significant, right? Because it can be done by anyone. So that's why the knowledge formation or conceptualizing the research at engineering level is also very important. It may be dismissed as an obvious, or it cannot be considered as a groundbreaking research. That's it. The next topic we are having critical and creative reading that we'll discuss in the next class.